that we operate in a market where there's a very extreme tendency towards that guru branding. And I think that is the typical personal brand, right? Like, I am the expert. I've done all these things. Follow me, and you can do all these things too. You can be just like me, is kind of the positioning for a lot of influencers, content creators, personal brands. And that happens a lot in our market. Like, if you look around at the instrument learning sites, most of them position themselves primarily on, we've got the big Grammy award winning rock star musicians, come learn with us and you can be just like them. And I've shared a little bit about our brand, but the core mission of our brand really is the fight against what we would call the talent myth. This idea that only those gods godlike rock star musicians have what it takes. And so then there's this really weird ecosystem, I think, in the market where all these hobbyists are looking up to the guru musicians and aspiring to be like them. But subconsciously, culturally, we're told, well, they're talented and most of us aren't. So I think it leaves the student in this really weird place where they're kind of inspired by those people, but also don't really believe they could ever be like them. And because the whole crux of our messaging is actually talent isn't a thing, it's just you haven't learned the right skills yet. We really take the position that, our team are not extraordinary. Like, we're not born gifted rock star, X Factor, pop idol type gurus in music. We are very, very good at the things we teach, but we are genuinely like our customers. And that goes for me as much as any member of our team. And so it means I've always had this really weird relationship with the idea of a personal brand because A, it didn't really fit my personality to want to put myself out there, and B, it didn't do our customers a service if I did put myself up on a pedestal. And so I would love to say I have it figured out. I'm not sure I do, but I think we've done a good job of leveraging the power of having a person as the figurehead of the brand without putting that person, me, up on a pedestal as the typical personal brand guru.
Yeah, yeah. I like what you said really resonates with me and actually opens my mind a little bit. Because I never thought about the like you use the lack of a personal brand of a guru in like that is representing the company as like your element of proof in a certain sense because your audience is like the people who just want to learn to play an instrument and they're everyday people, so why not learn by like with everyday people and not from the guru that, like you said, like on one side you admire it but admire them, but on the other side it's kind of scary too. And so yeah, that's a very interesting perspective, and it clearly worked out for you and it's been working out for you, so for musical you in general. So I think that's a very interesting perspective. And I think that this conversation also opens up like a different part of the conversation because in general, I think that with personal branding, when I started working a few years ago in this personal brand type of market, I was kind of confused to be honest, because at first you hear the people that say, "Oh, yes, you need a personal brand because no one wants to learn or listen to a corporate entity, right?" And then but when you dig deeper, you find out that if you build an entire company on a personal brand, it's hard to sell it,
Mm.
and because if you take out the personal brand, you take 95% of the thing, right? And so you hear people like Hormozy say, well, yes, you need to build a personal brand, but also pair it with like your team and other people, because this way, like the personal brand doesn't have the whole weight of the success, right? So it's not the only key of the single key of the success of that business. And so like I think it does make sense what you say. And did you have this in mind when you thought about the whole personal branding thing?
I don't know that I did, to be honest. And I've had several friends who've been through that painful transition where they had built their brand around their name And then they had to go through the process of kind of extracting themselves and bringing in other faces, and in some cases rebranding so that it wasn't their name on it because they were looking to exit. I never thought in those terms because this is a mission for me. Like, this is my life's purpose. I don't build the business to sell it, and I guess I'm not strategic enough to design for that anyway.
No, but that's
As a
not what I
fallback.
meant.
No, no,
That's
but
not what I meant. It's just that the fact that it's hard to sell it is a like an expression of the fact that
100%, yeah.
it's
So
more
that
fragile.
yes.
That's what I mean.
So I would 100% agree there. And there are definitely people who would say you should build your business to be sellable purely because it makes the business stronger. And in our case, for example, it's been a huge asset that I am not the one face of our brand and I am not the prominent name everywhere. And I have diversified the team, and our students, our customers know other members of the team probably more than they know me at this point, because it means over the last few years, for example, I haven't wanted to be on camera as much for a variety of reasons, and I've had that option, and I've been able to go and bury myself away in introvert projects and be perfectly happy without worrying, oh, we haven't put out a podcast episode this week, or oh, that I'm not hosting that masterclass, there's going to be a problem. I have those options, and I think we've definitely seen the business is more resilient through not having that single point of failure and that real day-to-day dependency on the personality showing up to be the crux of the marketing and the product delivery.
Yeah, yeah, and especially when like if you rely on like organic content, on even just like the ads creatives, if you like the personal brands is the only one creating all the videos and maybe shooting like the pictures, like the images for like again for the creatives and the thumbnails, etc., then again you're very fragile. Like the first time that you're sick for a couple weeks because you're like feverish and you cannot work, then your marketing stops. And like you said, it's like that kind of business is not as resilient as building a team and people knowing other faces, not just yours. So,
Yeah,
uh,
and I think it's a very personal thing, and I think it's quite a
mm,
complex thing where, for example, someone just starting out, there is such power in that personal branding. And the reason I fell into it at all was that for email marketing, it's so different to receive an email from a person as the founder of the brand than the company. And so I started writing the emails in my name, in my voice, and that was kind of my gateway. And then I was hosting the podcast, and then I was in videos and ads, and it was a slippery slope for sure. But I just say that to acknowledge that it's not a clear cut either or. That if you're just starting out, you should avoid being the face of your company. I think for us, it certainly has provided a lot of help, particularly in the early years, to establish the brand and establish some authority and have the option to, go be interviewed on a podcast or to have your own podcast. So I think it's definitely something that people need to figure out for themselves, like where is that balance and how should it evolve over time?